Good morning. We'll be starting momentarily. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. So thank you so much. I was just getting started with everything and wanted to make sure that the technology was working. Um, good morning. I know that there are going to be some people that hop in. So we're going to go ahead and get started because we have a bit to cover today. And I want to make sure that I am not wasting your time and that I am using it wisely. Is that okay if we go ahead and get started? Now, what I'm going to ask is that you use the chat to communicate and so that we can kind of keep the flow. We will have opportunities for Q&A and takeaways and just opportunities to discuss one-on-one and as a group, but we have quite a bit to cover. So I want to make sure that we're just kind of moving along. All right, good morning, good morning. So if you don't know me, or maybe if this is the first time, good morning, Frank. This is the first time you're getting introduced to me. I am Melinda 𝐂𝐚𝐥𝐿. I am a government contracting advisor. I'm a marketing strategist. And for over a decade, I've helped clients, my customers who are solopreneurs, who are business owners running multiple six-figure, 7 and 8, even 9-figure businesses win government contracts. And I've been so successful that in just the last 4 years alone, my team and I have helped our clients win over $4.4 billion. I'm an award-winning marketer in this space specifically. And when it comes to government contracting, it's really, really simple. And so instead of focusing on trying to complicate it or make myself sound really, smart, I actually want to just dumb it down, really break it all the way down so that we all understand it. We actually have a little bit of fun, because once we realize how easy this is, how realistic this is for our businesses, it just takes off. It takes off. So we'll be talking about that as well. It's just a couple of case studies that I have to share with you. We've changed the format of this masterclass. So previously, this masterclass, 𝐂𝐚𝐥𝐿 Millions, was really focused on just kind of breaking through mindset. And what we realized is that people really need to know the nitty-gritty about compliance. Like, how do you get compliant? How do you write proposals? What can you understand the jargon in the RFPs? What do they need? What about the forms? How to do the pricing strategy? All of that stuff. And in the next 4 hours, I'm going to go through as much as possible to answer your questions. We're also going to have time throughout the masterclass to ask more questions. So I'm sure that as you're taking notes, so hopefully you have something to write on and write with, that as you're taking notes, you're starting to see like, oh, wait, that's a question. Let me go ahead and ask Melinda. Take advantage of this time right now. Because, so just so you know, because of my track record, because of my experience of helping businesses win tens of millions and hundreds of millions, even $1 billion contract, my VIP day rate is $150,000. So that is what I charge for one VIP day. And so instead of charging you $150,000, I'm going to gift this information to you as best I can in just 4 hours. So we're going to go fast and we have a lot to cover. Does that sound good? Give me a yes in the chat. That sounds good to you. Actually, no note takers. It's something with our streaming system. Something has been happening. So we've actually previously had note takers come in, and what happens is I don't know what it is, but it just slows everything down. We do record at the same time as we're streaming to you in Zoom. And so for some reason, it just doesn't work. So I apologize for that, but that is something that we really just strive for, okay? Yes, you will get a replay of this recording after the masterclass. Absolutely. Yes, great questions. Okay, let's go ahead and dive in. So now that you know a little bit about me, I want to go ahead and ask you the question. How many of you, especially those watching the replay, want to have you nod your head, even if you're watching the replay? How many of you want to get clear on government contracting? How many of you are just tired of wasting time? And here's the thing, here's the reality of the situation. We're at the end of 2024. And most of you have already done your business plan, right? You've already evaluated, you made modifications and adjustments for 25 and beyond. But there's a lot of unknown in the marketplace, right? There's AI, there's technology, and a lot of industries are just getting snuffed out by technology. We already start to see it, like the tidal wave is coming in. You see what I'm saying? And so why I love to share government contracting is because it's stable. Like the government has been, people have been doing work and business with the government for over 248 years. It ain't changing. It's not. So what they do is that they allocate a specific amount of money that are our tax dollars, and then they reintroduce them as contracts. So they're saying, they're looking at their business plan, their fiscal year ends in September and it starts October 1st. And they're looking at their business plan and they're saying, these are all the things that we need to have accomplished, done, maintained, acquired all throughout the fiscal year. And here's our budget to do it. So like private clients, you know, how many of you understand what it means to work with a client who doesn't know if they can afford you? They're like, can you just send me a quote and I'll get back to you? And then they come back and then they're like, well, you know, it's just not out of our price range. It's like, wait a minute. I asked you what your price range was before. You didn't even know what it was. And now you're coming back and telling me. It's so frustrating, right? Like it wastes time for the team. It wastes time in planning because now it's just an unknown, unstable source of revenue. It's unstable for your team. It's unstable for your business growth. And the opposite is happening in government contracting. The opposite. They're already telling us way ahead of time what they're going to buy for years to come, like years. And I mean in any industry. So there is a website by the U.S. Census Bureau, NAICS, N-A-I-C-S. And you can actually look up your NAICS codes, N-A-I-C-S, and just Google it. And it'll show up this website where you can put in and find your NAICS codes. If you find your NAICS codes, then the government buys what you sell. I have not met an entrepreneur that has not found a NAICS code for their business. I'm talking bakery, website design, graphic design, facility services. I mean, construction is always there. Technology, software, ministers. If you're a minister, if you have a jewelry store, if you are a hairstylist, a clothing stylist, if you sew, like there are uniforms that they need to have sewn, right? To maintain. A dry cleaner, someone who owns a car dealership. Like imagine the world of government contracting is happening around us all the time. And we just never knew about it, right? We weren't aware. When you see a police officer driving in their car, that is a contract that they're in, and that's a contract that they're wearing. All of the weapons that they have are contracts. Everything is a contract, except for the people themselves. Those are employees. So it's like, whoa, wait a minute. How many opportunities are there really? There are a lot. And I just gave you an example for a local contract. So these are local contracts, your city, your state, your county, your town. If you are overseas, if you're in different countries like Canada, Mexico, UK, they might have different terms, but they're just the same. They're the same structured if you're within a country that has a governing body similar to the US. So China. So there are all of these contracts. It's like, wait a minute, if this is happening around us and happened for just the United States over 240 years, nearly 250 years, why is anybody aware about this? Like, what? How do we not know about this? The US government spends over $500 billion, $500 billion annually on contracts. And the average small business wins around between $250 to $1 million per contract. We're going to talk about GovCon stacking later on in the masterclass, but realize that you can win as many contracts as your business can support. Does that sound good? Give me a guess in the chat. Yeah, right? Like what you're doing now, you're just like, okay, I wonder, is having the strategy call, you're talking to the client, you're walking through this process over and over and over again. And you're like, I don't know that. I mean, they look good, right? You've been in business for a while. You stop, you stop looking at face value. You're like, let's see if they sign the contract and pay the deposit, right? Well, the government is clear. They're like, this is what we need. This is when you submit your proposal. This is when we'll tell you whether or not you won. And this is when we'll tell you why you won and if you didn't win. Here's your scoring. So you know exactly what you did right and what you did wrong, or what you need to modify and adjust. I mean, think about that. That's like a clear playbook. When you have been doing business with other businesses and consumers for so long, trying to just assume like volume, like I just, our ratio is this, and like, for every 5, there's like 1 conversion, or every 10, there's like 2, just like what? This changes things, because there's a way for you to increase wins every single year, knowing that you can stack $1 million contract with a $250,000 contract. And as your business grows, then you're qualified for even more contracts. And so it just changes the landscape for you. It takes the limit off. It's just like, there's no limit to this. Do you know what I'll do for your business, for your team? Like your operations, your sleep. Let's talk about sleep. You'll be able to sleep through the night. It won't be like, oh, I have to worry about this. I got to do payroll, got to do this, got to do that. There's this new investment, right? And here's the other thing, is actually really, it's funny, and it's not funny, but it is a benefit, right? We always want to stay in flow. We don't want to fight what's naturally going to happen, because that's when we lose, right? So we want to stay in flow. So what's really interesting about government contracting is that government is always behind. In technology, they are way behind. Way behind. They're still trying to figure out social media. There are so many contracts for website design, software design and development, social media, ads. They're like, so behind. And so the reason why that's happening is because they're getting from the market. So if you position yourself as an advisor, as an expert, as someone who already has tapped into and has built a book of clients who are private sector, and that you've provided experiences of transformation, then it just changes everything. It changes everything. So what I'm saying here is that there are opportunities and they're limitless. And I'm sure all of us have seen the movies about government contracting. What are you talking about, Melinda? The majority of movies that I have seen in the last 10 years, the majority of them, there's at least one contractor talking about. TV shows, movies, plays. Like everybody loves the play series, Hamilton, right? No one ever says anything about the government contracts that they're talking about within the storyline. Like they're everywhere, they're around us all the time, but it's almost as if they have been limited in terms of education. So that's my goal for today, is to educate, is to teach you something that even the government people that are already doing government contracts, a lot of them come to me and they're like, can you help us increase our win rate? Because we keep failing and we don't know why. Because this is something that big businesses know. This is how they got from million to billion to even beyond, is that they figured this out. They said, we need to simplify. We don't want to add another product line. We don't want to add another service line, right? Because it just complicates things. It's way more expensive. Now you need to have experts for that service line. What if you just sold the services and products that you're really good at right now? It changes everything. You can accomplish your 5-year goal in less time. So that's why I created the GovCon sales strategy. So it's a proven, streamlined process that makes securing government contracts as exhilarating, as fun, as exciting as your first big deal in your business. It's as rewarding as standing ovation from your best client. This isn't theory. It's a formula that works and works and works. And if you haven't been hesitant, or if you haven't been somebody that's been thinking about it for a while, and it's, you already know, and you already believe, this is based off research and surveys that I've performed. The number one challenge is bureaucracy. the language, the terminology, the rules. Oh my goodness. Like, but that's the first step. It's interesting. As soon as we step into a new world, right? The first time you've ever drove us, have you ever driven a stick shift? I remember the first time I've driven a stick shift. I was terrible. My first car was a stick shift. It was awful. I remember leaving the high school parking lot and like jerking the whole way out. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm terrible at this. And then eventually I got better and better and better and better. I mean, I'm probably better than most people I know. If like most people don't even know stick shift, like I know stick shift. I was taught, I learned how to drive on a stick shift. And so that's the level up. I can drive anything. There's no limits. So today, the promise that I have for you today is that I will help you deepen your understanding of government contracts. We're going to talk about compliance, proposal writing, how to secure contracts, so that you gain practical strategies to position your business for success in the government sector. You're going to build valuable connections. You're going to learn how to do that. And you're going to learn how to navigate opportunities more effectively. Sound good? Get my water. Okay. Yep. All right, cool. Let's dive in. Before we get started, is it okay if I just take a moment, just a quick minute, to tell you a little bit about how I got here and how do I help people? Is that all right? Yes. Okay. So I used to get paid in corporate America to submit hundreds of proposals to government clients. And those contracts, those proposals for contracts would range anywhere between $250,000 to hundreds of millions of dollars. Just the other day, I was reflecting on that with somebody I was talking to, and they were in Kentucky, and I said, oh yeah, I helped win that University of Kentucky Science and Tech Lab. It's valued at $256 million. That is not the largest contract that I've seen. That's not the largest proposal. Actually, it was way easier than I expected it to be. But here's the funny thing. I always struggle to explain what I did. If you go to my LinkedIn profile, you'll see it says marketing, and you're like, marketing. But when I explain to people what type of marketing I did, they were like, that's marketing? I'm like, yeah, that's what they call it. They didn't call it government contracting. They didn't even call it procurement. But that's exactly what I did. Because most people don't even know what government contracting is. Like I said earlier, government contracting has been around for 248 years. So back in corporate, I was working for a $7 billion company at one time. And when I had decision makers picking up the phone and calling me directly, bypassing their marketing teams to ask me to do a compliance review before their proposal was submitted. Across the entire company, from California to Boston to New York to South Florida, I mean, just all over the place. Hey, Melinda, hey, I know you don't know me. Hey, we met at the annual meeting last year. I mean, do you understand how weird that is to get phone calls from vice presidents and project executives and senior vice presidents across a company? It was so strange. I'm like, what is going on? How many of you have clients that call you for favors? Like you accidentally gave the phone number. You're like, ah. They're like, hey, Frank, can you do this for me? Right? And this happened all the time. It wasn't sporadic. It was very consistently. So one specific day, I went to a strategic partners meeting with my boss, and he's a project executive. And I was sitting across from the strategic partner. My boss is sitting next to me, and I'm just leading the meeting. I'm just leading the meeting. This is for our specific strategic pursuit. Pursuit is another word for opportunity, contract, right? Pursuit. And the strategic partner looks at me. He drops his Mont Blanc pen. I can never say that properly. Mont Blanc pen. He drops it down on the desk and he looks at me. He goes, Melinda, can you just come work with me? What would I have? What would it take? And my boss looked at him and his face turned red. It was like, whoa. I started laughing because I was nervous. I was like, he's got to be joking right now. And they just started like bickering. And I thought to myself, what could cause these two people who have had 30 years of relationship to bicker in front of me, to like fight? Does that make sense? Like that moment, that was the moment when I realized that there was something I wasn't understanding what I was doing. They were calling me marketing. I was doing government contracting. I was helping them win hundreds of millions of dollars a year, right? The office that I was housed in Atlanta, when I started there were around 30 people. When I left 2 years later, there was over 100 people in that one office, all from work that was won. So let me ask you, have you ever thought to yourself, you're missing out on something? Like everybody seems to be figuring something out. Like what am I missing? Let me know in the chat. Yeah. Indeed, right? Have you ever felt stuck? All the time, right, Justice? Have you ever felt stuck wanting to scale your business? You're like, what does it need? What does it take? Like, how do I get this done? And you just feel like there's a barrier and a barrier and a barrier. Like you can't go any faster. And then the direction that you can go in, it's like, it's very murky and it's unknown. And a lot of people around you have never been in that arena, never been there before. So it's not like you can ask someone else. So this is what was happening for me. I'm like, there's something I'm doing that's really good. They're fighting over me. I have executives across the company calling me on the phone and telling me to send them an email, not even upload it to the system, which is a big no-no in corporate, right? You gotta have a paper trail. They're like, no, just send me an email. And then when they win, oh my goodness, do you know how many bottles of wine I got delivered to me? I mean, I have tried wine from different continents, gift cards, so many things from within my company, just like a thank you. I had no idea the value that I was delivering for them. And so this one day I just sat down and I thought to myself, you know what, I got to write this down. Like it was in my head, have you ever done something intuitively and you don't even know what you're doing until someone asks you, explain it. And you're like, I don't know. Hold on. Right? You're like, oh yeah, okay. No. I think it's this way. Like it's in your head. And it's hard to get out. So I started documenting and I'm like, okay, so this is what I do. And then I'd walk through a next step and then I said, this is what I do. And I walked through the next step and I said, this is what I do. And I started refining it. I didn't have a guidebook. There is no guidebook, when you're working for someone else, like in corporate. There isn't a guidebook. There was no manual because I didn't know what it was I was doing, but I was doing something right. I was helping them win a lot of money. So I was writing it down. I'm like, okay, I'll figure it out the name later on. I don't know what to call this. This is just my strategy, Melinda's strategy. And after a while, I had this system now. Like I said, I left that company because they didn't have any room for me to grow. And I'm an entrepreneur and I like to be the leader. I like to just create and help a ton of people. So I left, I started my business, and I was afraid. How many of you, like, tell me in the chat, what do you think I was afraid of? What do you think I was afraid of? Yeah, the unknown, just taking the first steps. Absolutely. I was afraid. I was afraid this wasn't going to work. I was afraid that I had created a system for corporate, for a $7 billion business that has tons of experience, that they just do hundreds of contracts a year with the government. I was afraid that this was only going to work for them. I couldn't do this on my own. Well, you know what's really interesting? As soon as I announced, the day I actually have I should have took a screenshot, but I actually have the day I announced I was going on my own. It was a DM on LinkedIn to 2 people. And by the end of the week, I was fully booked with companies across the country, including the strategic partner that wanted to hire me. And I thought to myself, okay, they believe in me. Okay, I got to do this then. So my first call, I was really honest. I talked to that strategic partner and I said, listen, I want to work with you. I want to help you. I just created this system. And I told him this, and he was like, that's brilliant. I said, I don't know if it's going to work. I'll be honest, I don't know if it's going to work. So I don't know. And he says, I know it's going to work. Do it. Guys, it worked. He won contract after contract after contract after contract. It was just insane. And so I thought, okay, well, you know, he's like 10 million, right? He's 10 million in, it could be that too. And I had a friend who just started a business. And I was telling her about my wins. And I was like, I'm helping people win government contracts. She goes, can you help me? I said, absolutely. I think so. I can, I guess. I won't charge you because I'm not sure if it's going to work. And it worked. She won a contract, local business contract. And then other clients were coming across, like from Boston and New York. And I was working with companies in the UK and Canada and Mexico, in Tennessee, in the US here. My clients were working on proposals for people in China, like submitting proposals for Chinese contracts. And I was like, this is insane. The system is working. It worked across industries, even companies in other countries. It worked for even companies that were doing government work that just wanted to increase their win rate. I want to share with you 2 examples. Okay. Share. Okay. I don't know if that shows up. So this is Mark and Ed. This is one of our clients. And they came to us in around COVID, and there was 3 partners. Okay, let me give you the backstory. A little bit of tea here. Okay, there were 3 partners, and one of the partners just decided one day to become a competitor and take half of their team, like that, and do competition in the same city and take half of the book of clients. And they came to me and they were like, we are just trying to navigate this, Melinda. Can you just help us? Like, can you just keep doing so that we can keep bringing in opportunities? And I said, sure, no problem. I said, what's your strategy? What's your plan? How do you prepare? I don't know. The person that left was responsible for all of the business planning. So I'm like, okay, we're starting from scratch. I said, I have this system. He's like, yeah, go ahead, do it. Just help us win. So, okay, all right, no problem. So for 18 months, we helped them submit nearly 70 proposals, 18 months. And that equated to $1 billion in contracts. And then there were proposals, there were like RFPs that they thought they wouldn't win. They were using it as a strategy to get in front of the client. And when you see the GovCon sales strategy, you'll see why they did that. I don't recommend it because it's very expensive, but it is a way. And so I was like, okay, gave me the RFP. They're like, we're not, the goal is that we just want to get in front of them in a meeting so we can introduce ourselves, find out what they need, and then we'll circle back with a proposal next time. They could afford that, right? And then they did that. And so I was like, okay, I'm working on the proposal. I'm having meetings with them because they don't have a strategy. They don't have a plan. And I'm having meetings with them and working on the proposal. We submit the proposal and they call me and they go, we won. Guys, I'm telling you, this was not uncommon. They called me a lot. They emailed me a lot. And it was almost as I heard less about the winning and more about the losses. And there were very few losses because there were so many wins. The exception was the loss. Okay. They changed their win rate from like in the 40s to in the 67s, 68s in just 18 months. So the additional $1 billion came from one contract that I helped them position for. One. And that turned into $2 billion just for that one client. They grew their company, their team from 30 employees back up to 60 employees in just 18 months. Okay, so I'm going to share with you another example. This is Mike. Mike came to me and he goes, I don't have a proposal template. I don't have a proposal strategy. I'm new to this. I'm winning, but it's all by price. I don't have a plan. I said, cool. We created a plan. He won 7 out of 7. Each one was for 6 figures. This is Aparna. I love her story. She is one of many of our David and Goliath stories. When she won the $1 million contract, my team, one person on my team, Natalie, she was like, this keeps happening. I said, what do you mean? And she goes, we have a couple of other stories like this. And we pulled up and we had over a dozen clients that had the same story, exact same story. So Aparna, she came to me and she goes, I have never submitted a prime proposal, like as a proposal for an opportunity. So prime is she's owning the contract and she's responsible for it. Subcontractor, you're under a prime. So you're just getting a piece of the scope of work, right? You get paid for the work that you do. And I said, okay, so it's a different strategy. It's a different positioning. You're not just giving in your resume and your project. You're actually putting the entire thing together. You're saying that you're prepared to take on this contract. And so we put together the strategy. We went through the GovCon sales strategy. We went through putting together a proposal. And then less than 30 days later, she's calling me from an event. And she says, I think I just won. The client was at the event telling her that he'll send her the paperwork, the contract to review on Monday. On Monday, she gets the contract, but you know what else she gets? She gets a list of all of the other submittals. There were 11 other companies, all of them established, all of them had teams. So I said to myself, I was like, congratulations, this is amazing. But for me, I'm like, okay, let me make sure that she is not the cheapest, right? Because a lot of people might think that. And so I looked at the price, I looked at the estimate and where the client wanted to be, and she was in line with all of the other competitors. Isn't that cool? Like, what do you think about that? This is happening every day. Isn't this exciting? I didn't always have the level of influence that I do now. And I can say that confidently because I get referred clients from government clients, contractors, just like you. Government clients are like, hey, can you take on another client? They're DMing me. They're like, hey, I'm sending you a referral because I am one of the best. I am the best. But when I discovered the power of government contracts, that everything changed. And so out of nowhere, I created value for so many businesses to stabilize, to grow, to change a terrible situation into a great situation, to reclaim their confidence in their abilities, and to become an authority in their marketplace. I built something that produces wealth for everyone who uses it. So I don't want to teach you things that you can Google. Like I'm not that person. The more you learn about me, I don't appreciate nor value those type of events. So I am not going to teach you things that you can Google. Would that be okay? Give me a yes in the chat. Okay, we're just getting started, so I'm warming up and I'm going to go fast. So you want to make sure that you have a pen and a piece of paper ready to go. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your permission. This strategy is not going to just earn you more money. It's going to give you back your time to focus on what truly matters to you. Whether it's scaling your business or just enjoying more personal time. Just less worry. Oh, beautiful sleep. Wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, refreshed because you didn't have to sleep, halfway sleep, worrying about your business. Your aura ring is going crazy because it's like you did not get into the zone, right? All of those things. Now you can have a peaceful way up in your business. So I'm going to skip this part. So later on, I'm going to share with you how you can take action on this and how you can integrate this into your business. I'm actually going to share you the action steps to do that. Oh, you got a question? Okay, hold on a second. All right, let me go ahead, Cody. What's up?
To let you know, first off, thank you for all the info you've been bestowing upon us. And yeah. So I may have to leave or something, but I'm gonna stay in as long as I can
Okay.
with you after, or is it possible, or is this something you charge, or
I'm going to go over all of that later on. So yes, you will receive a replay in case you have to hop off. Hopefully you can stay as long as you can because in real time, you obviously get questions answered in real time. And then you'll have an opportunity to schedule a strategy session with me after the call. So this is going to be something that you'll want to just kind of be on the lookout for emails because this is an opportunity that I want you to take advantage of now. Okay. Great question. Awesome. Okay. Okay. So let's get to, all right. So let's talk about the system. Are we ready for the system? Let's go. There are 5 simple steps. Put on your sheet of paper, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 simple steps that can help you build your business and grow and reach your goals. Companies that work with the government can grow their revenue. This is a stat. I didn't create this. This is public knowledge. Grow your revenue by 200 to 400% in 2 years. I just showed you an example of what that looks like. So this is real. The first step in the process, though, is that we don't need to stop work. We need to stop working so hard. We need to stop working so hard for money. I mean, that is a good news. That is good news. Where were all that we were told about working hard? We were told to work hard, get a good education. You work hard, you get everything and it'll be fine. You work hard, you just keep your mouth quiet, you put your head down and you just do the work. This is life. Life is hard, right? How many of you heard that? Life is hard. It's just get over it. But then we did get a good education. We did work hard. Let me show you something. I want everybody to participate. How many of you are hard workers? Put in the chat. Are you a hard worker? Yeah. So how many of you are multiple millionaires? So working hard does not work. I know that I'm already telling you things that you already know, and it's contrary to belief. And you're not yet. That's exactly what I want you to believe. It's not yet. It's going to happen. When we do things that are smarter, not harder. You ever heard of a flow? And when you stay in flow, things just like move. You probably see people and are like, man, how are they doing all those things so quickly? How are they accomplishing all their goals? How do they become so wealthy? How do they have all those things? They're in flow. And hard work is not in flow. Like they're alternate opposites. If you ever look it up in science, you look it up in whatever you believe in, to be honest, any religion. Hard work and flow, there's two separate things, okay? So I know that that's hard for a lot of people to believe, but that is real, it's reality. Even though society tells us that we have to work hard. And that's why I created the 𝐂𝐚𝐥𝐸 system. That's why I named it this. Because when I realized that the 𝐂𝐚𝐥𝐸 strategy is something that's going to allow people to work smarter, where you could be, imagine you're like one of the good guys in a movie, right? And you're like sitting on your yacht talking about government contracts with a buddy. And you're just like establishing a JV partnership to win a $500 million contract. This is what people do every day. It's just that the world hasn't been open to that yet. So here, let me give you this one thing, and I'm going to move that down, but we're going to go ahead and dive into the system. Okay. The first step is prepare. On the screen. The first step is prepare. Okay. How many of you have ever played a scavenger hunt? Right? Yeah. Right? Okay. All right, good, good, good. So what the first thing that we need to do is we need to know the rules, right? How far can we go? What's off limits, right? What's the boundaries? How high can we go? Can we go on that tree? How far can we go down the road? What about those benches over there? Can we call a friend? Like, we want to know all the rules. There are a lot of winners, and the ones that lose are the ones that stop playing. So in the game of scavenger hunt, prepare is the plan. You'll take our GovCon preparation checklist that's in the GovCon sales strategy, and you're going to work through what you need to do to prepare your business to win state contracts, local contracts, federal contracts. Many of you might be concerned about the future of your business. You know, there's technology, AI, other things. It all comes down to unpredictable cash flow and income. So what government contracts allows you to do is to stabilize your revenue. While your clients are navigating unsteady waters, you're working on pivoting how you serve them. Does that make sense? So while you're winning government contracts, this is one way, this is one revenue stream. Oh, that popped out. One revenue stream. And then you have another revenue stream that's like directed to your existing clients. All you're doing is serving your clients, but they're going through what they've been going through for the last 4 years. Am I right? Unsteady waters, a lot of change. I believe we're not at the new normal yet. I really believe that. Remember that term? We heard new normal in 2019 and 2020 and 2021. The new normal is coming. Everybody is hopeful about the new normal. I don't believe it's here yet. I don't believe it's here yet. So what's going to happen, and what has already been predicted by CEOs of LinkedIn, Amazon, they've already predicted, OpenAI, they've already predicted an additional change that we're going to experience in the next few years that is going to transform this era. So what does that mean? That means all of your clients, your current clients, are going to experience some ripple effect, and it's going to impact your bottom line. You know what's really interesting? Across eras of eras of eras, the US government has been doing government contracting for over 248 years. They have gone through significant shifts in market. They've gone through the Depression. They've gone through technology. They've gone through software change, like Y2K, right? When everybody thought technology was going to be a bust. So what I'm saying is that there's stability, but we have to create a plan to win. And what's really fun, this is fun, is that many contracts are multi-year. You're going to have provided steady revenue streams. You win a contract, and what if that contract is 3 years long? Oh my goodness. Your team is going to be kissing you. They'll be like, I don't have to worry about what's going on out there. Absolutely. I love you. Thank you. Right? You're going to be happy. Your family's going to be happy because they'll see you and you're not burning grays all the way. You're able to have a normal life because you're not worried about where's the money coming from. Where's the next client? Urgency. And we all know that that's not attractive to clients. Are you getting this? Cool, right? All right. So let's move on to number 2. Target. Who is buying what we're selling? We need to find the right stakeholders. There are, and I'm sure you've already know this, right? Because if you're interested in government contracting, you at least started looking at contracts. So you know that there is a plethora of opportunities. And this is where people get stuck. They say, oh man, I'm going to go get that $2 million contract. Download the RFP. They look at it and they say, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming. If you follow the process, so step 1 in prepare, it was all about preparing using the GovCon preparation checklist. This checklist is going to make sure that when you get to target, you know exactly what you're looking for. You've ever driven down the road and you see, you're thinking about your dream car and you're like, man, I want a red, Bugatti, whatever. And all of a sudden you see one. And then you see another one. And you're like, where do I live, right? When you start to get clarity, you start to see what you're looking for. When you don't have clarity, you see everything. You see everything. And it's so hard to navigate. And it takes you time, and it's just waste time and waste money. It's overwhelming. You get stuck. So target is about who is buying what you're selling. So now that we have the rules, let's go back to the scavenger hunt. Now that we have the rules, you identify all of the spots and assign your team roles, right? And so you're scoping out the path, you're looking, you're like, okay, so we're going to go left, and then we're going to go right, and then we're going to do this. No, we don't want the other team to see us, right? We're doing all those things strategically. And this is about playing the field, right? We want to make sure that we understand the entire field and what's going on around us. You're looking at your plan, you're deciding on the route you take, you're committed to win. For this game, you're to find the puzzle pieces. That's the scavenger hunt, to find the puzzle pieces. You getting this? So in the GovCon sales strategy, this is when you're going to build your opportunity matrix. I want to show you what that looks like. So your opportunity matrix, this is a sample. Zoom in, here you go. Your opportunity matrix is going to detail, let me use this. It's going to detail the opportunities that fit your business type. So you're going to know if this is a new client to you, if this is a new client in general. You're going to have all the agencies and their departments, who is buying it. It's not going to be DOD, it's going to be the Department of Defense of blank, like a department is going to be buying that. You're going to have the opportunity number or the opportunity name, the solicitation title. So that's the solicitation. There's a lot of words that mean the same exact thing. Okay, so solicitation title is opportunity title. It is contract title. It's all the same. So I will walk you through all of that terminology. Scope of work, you might be familiar with this. This is exactly what they're asking you to do. You might see statement of work. So this is just scope of work. This is exactly what they want. This is what they're looking for. Market. This is important. This is really, really important. So market is, where's the agency and what's it for? A lot of people think, okay, so if it's Department of Defense, then the market is federal. Well, or excuse me, defense. Well, not necessarily, because the Department of Defense might need event planning. And so the market is different, right? So estimated value, what's the estimated value for this contract? Okay, status, what's the status of the contract? Is it currently at pre-solicitation? Is it at award? What we're going to start looking at is, we're going to start looking at contracts that are here or in the future. Like, this is how you start building out your plan. You have a business plan already. You're going to add this to your business plan. You're not going to try to figure out, okay, next month, what am I going to submit? Oh, what's the next one we're going to do? You already have them. You already figured them out. Incumbents. Incumbents are those that have the award or have won the award in the past. I'll teach you how to look at that. And then the score. So you're going to look at their incumbent score, and you're going to look at the scores of those who submitted. This is so, so important. When you create a strategy, right? Let's say you're playing a game at home. You have a board game, you pull it out, right? You think about your strategy. You're like, you have teams, right? Before you make a move. You always want to think ahead before you make a move. It's the same thing in government contracting. All right. Okay, let's get to the step. Are you guys with me? Give me a yes in the chat. Here's my chat. Okay, yes, awesome. Sorry. It's okay, Heather, no problem. If you can, it'd be great. If you can't, it's okay. Just stay here, listen in, engage in the chat. That helps me a lot, because then I know if this is of service to you, okay? And that goes for everybody. All right, so you're welcome. You're very welcome. All right, so when you have a plan, so now we know what the opportunity matrix is. This is the plan. This is when we're starting to form a plan. We figured out to prepare. Prepare is important. We have to mentally know where we're going. We want to accomplish this. We want to win one contract. We want to have $1 billion in contracts. We want to have $10 million. How are we going to do it? We're going to start to target, what are all the opportunities that are out there? before we do anything else. Doesn't it sound easier? I hope it sounds easier because I love to simplify complications, and Lord knows that government contracting can be complicated. Okay. So we talked about target. When you have a plan, you get clear on what opportunities are for you and where to look for them. So the majority of contracts are repeated often. There are contracts that are repeated every year. Imagine an issued contract, an issued opportunity 100 years ago is still out there. Still, boom, there's another one, another 5, 10 years. There are, so this is so cool. This is what I just love this because I love commercial real estate. I love commercial real estate. And a lot of the people that I know that are in commercial real estate have contracts with the government leasing out properties. What? So imagine like the government offices that you go to. Like, it's so crazy. It's so insane. They're everywhere, these opportunities. So which means that the plan, this is a plan that you have all year. This is a plan that you create all year, year after year. You'll know exactly what opportunities are coming out 5 years from now, building stability. So when you look at your business plan, you might be in B2C, you might be in B2G or B2B. You're just adding B2G. So it's just like getting into a new target market. You're not changing your business. You're just modifying it. You're just taking your system and saying, okay, we provide these services to the government in the way that they've asked for it. And that's it, which is exactly what we're doing now, right? You have a service, a client comes, they customize it to fit their needs, and now you're on retainer. Super simple, right? Oh, that's your area of interest is commercial real estate. Oh, we need to talk. There's so much. So imagine spending less in marketing to acquire a multi-million-dollar government client. Talk about lifetime value. Are you starting to see the power of the system? Are you starting to see how GovCon's sales strategy works? It's powerful. What would that do to your business? Let me know in the chat. Like, what would that do to your business, having that level of stability? Let me know. Let me know. What would that do to your business? Allow us to continue growing in other areas. What else? It would be awesome. But what would it do to your business? How would you function as a leader? Increases impact and growth. 100%. 100%. You're at, like, it's a level up. You're playing with the big guys. All right, so let's move on to strategy. Strategize. This is all about plan how to win. What makes you different? What makes your business different? We already know who won last time. We already know the value of the contract. We already know what the scope of work is. We already know the plan and how it was ran before. What makes your business different? How are you going to deliver this? Again, this is the same thing you're doing already. Now, I don't want you to think that you can take your current strategy and do it for government contracting. Because a lot of people think that, and their win rate is 1 out of 10. Do you guys know what my win rate is with this GovCon sales strategy? 8 out of 10. 1 out of 10, 8 out of 10. 1 out of 10, 8 out of 10. There obviously is a strategy that works, and there's one that doesn't. There's one that's on luck. There's one that is on just not alignment, if I'll put it that way. And guarantee you're not repeating wins after that 1-1. Okay, strategize. What makes you different? What makes your business different? How many of you have ever completed a jigsaw puzzle before? Let me see where my jigsaw puzzle piece people are. I love a jigsaw puzzle. Yes, right? Love it. Now, okay. Tell me how you do the jigsaw. Tell me where you start. Where do you start? You don't like, I'm not gonna even tell you my system. I want to hear your system. How do you do a jigsaw? I'm illustrating a point here. How do you do a jigsaw? Where do you start? What's the first thing you do? Oh, Frank is after my heart. The corners, the edges. You know, there's some crazy people. They're like, I'm going to do the flowers. I'm like, you are wasting time. They're like, I'm just going to do the pieces inside. I'm like, no, that's not. You got to do the edges. Usually, I have no strategy. Usually what seems to match. You're that person. I'm like, man, Heather, why are you going to work on the flowers right now? Like, just do the edges. Because what happens, like, once you know where the edges are, once you know the boundaries, once you know, like, pretty much like typically like where you can fit your picture, it just all comes together so quickly. And then if you're really smart and you're my type of people that love to just pull out a jigsaw puzzle, glass of wine, and listen to some music on the record player, you will prop up the cover of the box and go to town. You're like, okay, those blues go there, that shade goes there, there's a gradient. There's a strategy. Even though it might not seem like you have a strategy, you have a strategy. So we just want to refine that strategy to work. So your current strategies to win business right now, they include social media posts, email, blog posts, articles, newsletters, website updates, a lot of awareness content, Have you ever felt like, do you know what is the main problem? Before and afters, a lot of awareness content. And that requires a lot of time and a lot of money. That's not government contracting. Yes, your government clients are on LinkedIn. They're online. They're like regular people, but they're not deciding heavily on your social media post. They're deciding based on your value proposition that you put in the proposal. So this is why we need to start with like actually taking time to create a strategy. So before we can work on the proposal, we have to know what makes your business unique and irresistible, even if you're submitting a price. At this step, you're doing the research on the client and the company that won the contract so that you know exactly what to do in your proposal. This is where in the GovCon sales strategy, we have the GovCon must-win plan. The GovCon must-win plan, it includes and it's not widely known, these strategies that I have learned from government clients on behalf of my clients for over a decade of experience of like trial and error, what works, what works, what works. Imagine I've tweaked so many strategies, so many. I used to do 100 a year in corporate. Imagine what our team does now. Would you like to know one of the insider secrets? I can tell you right now, one of the insider secrets that are included in this guide. Would you like to know? Hmm. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. I'll do it. I'll do it. No yelling. It's okay. All right. Here it is. It's a writer downer. This is like a no-brainer, but nobody does it. Know the agency's mission and vision. So what you're going to do is you're going to incorporate that in the cover letter and in the proposal. You're not going to say, this is your mission and vision. No, 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 no. We have sample language in the strategy system for you so you could use, but you're going to incorporate that in your message. And you in your strategy session, now you're like, wait, I have a strategy. I know how to deliver this. You might not think it's sexy, but it is. And then you incorporate what they care about. So good. So good. Okay, so we're going to take a quick Q&A takeaways before we move on. So let me know, raise your hand, unmute yourself, and let me know what questions you have so far, what your thoughts are, takeaways. Okay. You guys are thinkers. You're like, wait. All right. Then we'll keep going. You're like, no, I want to keep going. This is great. This is awesome. I don't want to stop. Keep going. Oh, got a question. Does the strategy also work for RFQs and contracts that money is already set for? Yeah. So all contracts, every contract, every opportunity that is issued in the form of a request for qualifications or an RFQ, request for qualifications, or an RFP is already set aside. It's already allocated because this is a budget that they knew that they were going to come out with this RFP and solicit it. So they already knew that. Yes, the answer is yes. So what is an RFQ really quick for everybody? The process, generally speaking, universally for state, local, and federal is that they start with an RFI or sources sought. Now, sources sought can go directly into a bid, like actually a win bid, or they could just, I just want to know what's out there. I just want to know who can be qualified to win this, right? Like, does this scope of work even, does it make sense, right? And they're looking for experts to give feedback to. Then it moves on to RFQ. So this is a request for qualification. So now they are really clear. They're starting to refine what they need. And they're going to issue a RFQ, a request for qualification, out to the marketplace. You'll see it, and it says, qualify yourself. Tell me that you can actually do this thing. So this is where you're going to respond without a price. This is just qualifications. This is qualifying your team, qualifying your company, qualifying your experience. You actually say you do it, but can you prove it? Is a qualifications. And then a request for proposal. This is when they want you to propose on that specific project. Does that make sense? Are we all good? Great question, Justice. All good? Okay. Oh, thank you. Also, my biz strategy is to sub out all of the physical work being done and we just do the admin stuff with the government. Is this still fine? I'm going to assume that you mean, when you say admin, I'm assuming that you mean project management. Like you actually manage the project. So the answer is yes, and. So yes, that is a strategy that a lot of businesses do. You don't actually need to be the person that delivers on those specific scopes of work. However, and it's a good idea and it's smart to know where everybody is in their government contracting journey. So let's say you see like a contract for baked goods, you know, they're asking for bread for dinner. And it's like, cool, I want to do this, but I'm not a baker. Oh, well, there's a baker across the street. I can ask them if they'll do it. Cool, no problem. Well, if they don't have a track record for baking goods for the government and have experience, then you're less likely to win. You're less likely to win. It's just, it doesn't matter on price. It's like they want quality and price. So you're less likely to win. And you don't want to just go after price because that's just it's your brand. And then the other thing is, and I know that there's other people that teach different things, but I am all about building one business and doing it right. You can have multiple businesses, have them have different, this is my own expertise and my experience, but have different LLCs for those businesses based off the scope of work. So if you're doing baked bread, website design, buying paper clips on behalf of like you're doing you're like, I'm going to get all the contracts into one business, it makes it really confusing for the clients because they're people like us. So they're talking to each other. They're like, oh man, you know, justice is awesome, right? This is information that you want to make sure is clear. Like, I'm not just about this, I'm about growing this. Because there's other plays in the government. You could get on a 𝐂𝐨𝐸 schedule, which I love 𝐂𝐨𝐸 schedules. It takes time, but when you're on it, you're on it. So what is a 𝐂𝐨𝐸 schedule? And then I'll get back on track. 𝐂𝐨𝐸 schedule is like a catalog. It's like, remember like JCPenney catalogs or like Sears catalogs? And you just like, you flip through and you're like, oh, I like that. You circle it. Well, so 𝐂𝐨𝐸 schedule is a catalog of already approved contractors. So if you have a business that has been doing business with the government for a while, you're winning contracts, you have experience, they love you, right? And you're like, I want to go get a 𝐂𝐨𝐸 schedule. You can, but you got to get really clear on what scope of work you provide. Because you can't just say, I do baked goods and paper clips and websites, and it's just not going to work. It needs to be really clear. So hopefully that helps you. That's how I think about things, is like, how can I work smarter and not harder? Simplify to scale. Great questions. I love these questions. All right, are we ready for number 4, submit? Number 4, submit. Really quick, just wanted to double check and make sure that we are all on the same page. What are the first 3 steps? You didn't know you're going to have a quiz today, huh? What are the first 3 steps? Put them in the chat. I want to make sure you're listening. What are the first 3 steps of the GovCon sales strategy? Nice. All right. I love it. Thank you, Justice. All right. You gave me permission to move on to number 4. So before we want to move on to number 4, which is Justin's timely question, GovCon stacking. I told you earlier that I cover this. I love GovCon stacking. This is the game. Where is he? There you go. Okay. This is the game. So if you can see the left-hand side, this guy here, prime contracting, this is how it is structured for a prime contract. Client prime is the relationship here, and then subs are beneath the prime. They're the responsibility of the prime. This is another reason why you want to make sure you are working with someone that is not going to give you a headache. Because if they don't deliver well, you don't deliver well. It's under your name. So you want to make sure you select the right subcontractors. Then there's subcontracting. This whole game is like bomb, it's bomb, it's bomb, it's bomb. So you could be one of these subcontractors, or you can set it up to, you could do a JV. This specific example is a JV example. You don't have to, but you could. And specifically, you could go after bigger contracts. So you're like, oh, maybe I'm really great at what I do, and I know someone else is really great at what they do, and we want to go after this bigger contract and then split it. Well, that's how you set up a JV. It is a legal binding agreement. So you would actually create an LLC, a new LLC for this opportunity. It is so sexy pants for the government to see this. They love this stuff, because it's kind of like a one-stop shop. Like, you figured it all out for them, made it easy. Okay, this is like basic marketing, right? Just like frictionless marketing. How can you make it as easy as possible for the client to say yes? And then you have subs under that, and you get to decide with that JV relationship whether they fall under you and them, or maybe it's a mixture depending on the scope of work. That's how you would structure your these are just like sample org charts just for the sake of presentation. And then middlemen. So this is how middlemen works. So just as you might be thinking, I don't want to, I know that this opportunity is out there, I really don't want it to be under my umbrella, so maybe I can be a middleman. And you're just introducing a prime to the government. And it's a front-end deal. It's a front-end deal. Okay. So let's move on to number 5. You guys have any questions about that? All right. So number 5 is submit. So write and deliver winning proposals. Oh, I can feel the energy of stress just lifting off of your shoulders. You're like, oh, this is the hard part. This is the part, Melinda, I don't love. Okay, so I want to simplify it for you. This is about submitting a proposal. This is about taking your strategy that you just created that's going to be perfect aligned to your business and the scope of work that you are confident in delivering, and you put together a proposal. That's the part, Melinda. Okay. In your proposal, you are responding to an RFP, an RFQ, an RFI, right? And in that proposal, you are not including your entire life story. It is not about you. That alone is going to increase your win rate. If you think that when it asks you, tell me about your business, and you feel like including all of the awards that your company won, all of the accolades, that is not the place for it. They want to know, can you solve this problem or not? We got money we got to spend in the next 12 months, and we don't have time. You see, the money that's in this bucket for the government to spend, they have a deadline. They have to spend that money. And so they're not looking to waste time, and they're looking at a lot of responses for that one opportunity and other responses. So you want to make sure it is compliant, clear, and creative, but it's not about you. It's about them. And if we do the research in strategy, step 3, then this is going to be so easy. So easy. All right. I'm going to teach you how to read an RFP. Is that, or read an RFP? Is that okay? Can I teach you how to read an RFP? You can write this one down. Okay. First step, you're going to go to the website, and you're going to go to the company's website or the agency's website. You're going to look at their mission vision. Second step, you're going to look at the selection criteria. Third, you're going to look at the introduction. It's usually the first paragraph on the RFP. It tells you like why, you know, it's like, well, we have this plan. The fourth step, you're gonna go back to the website. You're gonna find every piece of information you can on that plan beyond the scope that they're telling you about. Again, this is not about you. This is about them. This is about them. Fifth step, now you can read it from page to page. Now you can go back to the RFP and read it. Because now the frame of mind is what are they thinking about? What challenges are they trying to solve? What problems are they trying to solve? This is gold. This is gold, guys. This is literally the strategy, using the proposal writing guide in the strategy. This is the thing that has increased win rates exponentially. Because everybody thinks they got to read it from like, okay, page one, I got to read it. Oh, I got to read this whole thing. And it's boring. And you're like, there's no story. You have to create the story. You're going to use the hero's journey and create the story. Everybody's heard of the hero's journey, right? Hero's journey or hero's tree journey. Either of those systems. You're going to fill in the gaps that they don't include in the RFP. And then you're going to respond to that RFP in a form of a proposal, reiterating what they want, but from the position or the perspective of the guide. So I know that this is what you want. You want to accomplish this, and this is how I'm going to help you. Boom. All right. You want to make it more easier? Give me a yes in the chat if you want to make it more easier. Yeah. Would it be easier? Well, I know it'd be easier if you can write a proposal in days instead of weeks. Would it be easier if you just had like prompts that you can put into AI, like Claude or ChatGPT? Just whoop. Would it be easier if I teach you how to hold on to your tone, like your actual tone, so it doesn't sound like an AI just wrote this? Do you know I have talked to government clients that have thrown out proposals because of that? It is so much, like in days, in a day. What, like, can you imagine writing a winning proposal in a day? Can you do that now? I got a hand up. Whose hand? Oh, that's me. Oh. I went unthing my hand. Oh, we're just gonna have to ignore that. Yeah. Sometimes depending on the scope of work, it could take days, especially for the multi-million-dollar contracts. Those could take 2 weeks. I remember I submitted a proposal for, there you go. I submitted a proposal and it was for 550 million, I think. It was like around 550 million. And it was for a poultry lab. And it was 6 volumes. It was over 1,000 pages. Written by me, pre-AI. That took like 2 months on top of responding to other like smaller opportunities. 1,000 pages. Ick. And imagine doing that in like a day, maybe 2 days. You guys are going to have like, is this helpful? Is this like gold? I mean, I feel like I'm just giving you everything, but I'm not. I know this. But is this helpful? Let me know. Okay. Thank you, Justice. I'm glad. I'm glad. Because I already know this. My clients already know this. I want to make sure you know this. I want to make sure you have all of this. All right. One more. And actually, we got a little bit more. So, one more. Good. Okay, you're welcome, Heather. You're welcome. A lot of times people will say that they can't do this. Like it's overwhelming, it's hard, you make it sound easy, Melinda. What if I don't win any? What if I can't win? It's okay. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand and tell me yes in the chat about that. I already know. I already know that's what you feel. I already know that. I already know that that is a reality in your mind, but I'm here to tell you that this is how you play the game. You have to start running to get the pieces. You have to grab them and you have to collect them. And at the end, when everybody's racing to put together their puzzle piece after the scavenger hunt, see who gets first. Even when they call first place, you still finish. You still finish because that's going to tell you where you need to improve. You see, like this is a long game. You might start winning like the first one. A lot of clients of mine, they start winning the first contract or opportunity that they submit for. And a lot of times you don't, because you need to refine your business. You need to actually, I don't have a system. I haven't thought about like what my system is, Melinda. I don't like, I need to get certified. I need to do this. I need to do this. There's other things that you need to do to prepare. But what if everything was already written out for you? You just needed to follow the directions. You just need to follow directions. Can everybody follow directions? Yeah, right? It's just like step by step by step by step, you just get there. So this feeling, when it ain't, it's not, it's like, it's not manifesting in itself in your heart. If faith is the belief that migrates, is it anticipation or is it anxiety? It's just anticipation. You're just like excited. You're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like a child the night before Christmas. You're like, oh, that big box near the tree is mine. I saw my name on it. And you just claim it for yours. And so it's not that you can't do it. You can. It's your choice whether or not you want to do it. But here's the thing. I'm going to tell you what's working right now and what's not working. What's working is change. What's working is evolution. What's working is that time is of the essence. We know this now more than ever before. We know that right now there's a lot going on in the marketplace. You wouldn't be here if you weren't interested in how to stabilize your business growth. You wouldn't be here. And that's the truth here. This is what I'm telling you. So you can delay, you can think about it, you can wait on it, you can sleep on it, you can do all of those things. But I'm going to tell you right now, the problem's not going to go away until you change your actions. So when you take your first step, the next step will appear. The next step will appear. The next step will appear. This is how the system is played. And after a while, you build momentum. Everybody know what the law of momentum is? It doesn't start in momentum. Momentum is built. You have to start somewhere, one after another, and you start getting faster and faster and faster. You grow exponentially. And if you want examples of what this looks like, man, just turn on the TV. Every time an official speaks, there is a government contract in frame. What do we mean by that, Melinda? Here in the United States, President Biden was at, because I know that several people have registered from out of the country, so I wanted to make sure that I put this in frame. So here in the United States, a few months ago, President Biden was in New York, and he was talking about the train system. I was excited. I was like, oh my gosh. And I leaned in, I was taking notes. He was talking, I was writing notes. 10 minutes later, I picked up the phone, I called my clients in New York, and I said, did you hear what he said? They were like, no, we didn't get to see it. I said, this is what they said. They took exactly what I told them to do, and they went and took action. Before an RFP was ever thought to be created, they were building a relationship with the government on the train system. This is the reality of the world that we're living in. There are things that are moving around us. We need to take action because someone else will take action in our place. And we're going to miss opportunities if we don't take action. Type in the chat action if you understand what I'm saying, if you agree with what I'm saying. You got to take action. You got to take action. You got to move. Because if we don't move, we're going to get left behind. There's no way around it. It just is. We were created to create. And so when we stop creating, we start in fear, staying stuck, and in fear, not moving forward, and in fear, trying to hold on to things that have always been, and deciding for ourselves, because everybody else and everything else is telling us to transform and evolve. And we decided ourselves not to do those things, we become obsolete. This is how businesses go out of business. You ever thought about the stat? I'm sure you all have heard the stat, 50% here in the United States of businesses that start in 1 year, they fail, they close their doors. Another 20% in 2 years, and another 30% in 5 years. Why? If you look at the alignment of that, and you look at the data, and when they were tracking that information, it was during a transformative year. There were always transformative years when those markers were tracked. So what does that mean? That means that we're right now in a transformative time. We already know that. So if we know it, are we going to do something about it? Are we going to take action? Are we going to change? Or are we going to decide to fall behind? And then what many people do is they blame something else. Well, it's politics. Well, it's recession. Well, it's inflation. Well, it's this. Well, it's that. The clients suck. All of these things. And we could have avoided all of that by just taking action. Interesting, right? So interesting. All right. So when we take action and we create the proposal and we submit the proposal, we do is track the proposal. How many of you, be honest, thought that was the end of the strategy? Why is there 5? I submitted the proposal. Shouldn't that be the end? Is she going to tell me how to deliver? No, I'm not going to do that. That's not my. Every single one of you are in different industries. You have different ways to deliver. But there is only one way to win government contracts successfully. Track is the last step. Track. Why do we track, Melinda? Well, if you want to get better at something, what do? Practice. How about if we just get paid to practice? How about every single time you win, you are practicing? How about every time you lose, you're practicing because you're building a relationship with a client? This this is a scenario that occurs quite often. You put together this amazing proposal, you follow the steps, you submit the proposal. For those that you're in fear about winning, you submit the proposal and you didn't get it. And then you get a phone call from the client and they're like, we know you put together an amazing proposal. We have something even better for you. This happens all the time. When the goal is to get on their speed dial, you're not trying to fail, but you can see that failure is not failure. Loss is not loss. It is just another way to get to a win. This game is how it is. How you're doing business right now, how you're working with your clients now, you lose, that's it. Like they pick someone else, okay. They didn't like the way you did it, all right. You have the government calling you and being like, we have another contract and we can actually pay you right now for it because it's under the requirement to issue an RFP. Boom. And you just made like 20K, 50K for a fail. That sounds amazing. And then you're building a relationship, building rapport in the process. And you say, hey, client, how do I win next time? I really want to do this contract. I know we can do it. And they said, I know you can. Here are ways that you can improve. Tell me in the chat, is that a failure or is that a win? Oh, it's so good. It's so good. This is like, you see how strategy, like now it's no longer about like regulations and compliance. It's about the game. This is where people get stuck. Isn't about the regulations, because I'll tell you, you read it once, you know it, and you're done. And then you go and you win contract after contract after contract after contract, and then you establish relationships with clients that actually buy what you sell. You're not trying to establish a relationship with every agency and every single client. There are thousands of clients. You're just trying to build a relationship with someone who buys what you sell. So you know what they need, how they need it, and the boundaries, the prepare, the target, the strategy. And when you submit, you already know all this information. So now you're just submitting and submitting and submitting and submitting and submitting, and you're winning and winning and winning and winning and winning. And that's how it goes. There's nothing in your way. I give you full permission to go make money. I give you full permission to make millions of dollars with government contracts. All right. Heavy. I know. But it's necessary because I want you guys to win. I hate to give you all this information and you don't do anything with it. You gotta go. You gotta do it. You gotta take action. All right. This is a part of the scavenger hunt. You're like, man, I didn't get first place. Worst case scenario, you don't get first place. You get second place. So then you go play the game again. The game is the same. The rules are the same. The route is the same. The only difference is whether or not you care to play the next time. Over 80% of government contractors, just like you, fail to properly track and analyze their data. This leads to more proposal errors, more losses, lower win rates, missed opportunities, waste of time, waste of resources. Oh my gosh. So when you don't take the time to track, you're actually doing your business and your time, your life, a disservice. So there's a proposal tracker in the strategy system because we want to make sure that you know how to do the 8 out of 10 instead of doing the 2 out of 10 or the 1 out of 10. And the better you get, the more refined you get, then you know, oh wait, we actually submitted a proposal for a similar project 2 times ago. So we actually don't need to start from scratch on this one. We just need to tailor it and massage it. And we actually won that other one. So we can actually include it in this one that we won it. Boom. You see how that, does all that make sense? Like, give me a yes if that makes sense. Give me a thumbs up. Something I want to make sure. I feel like we've gone through a lot. We have gone through a lot in an hour and 45 minutes. Okay, I'm going to speed up. Are you guys good with that? Give me a yes, please. All right, cool. Oh, Heather, I got those thumbs. I want those thumbs. I love that. That's so cool. A friend of mine can do that with Zoom. I can't do that. She does like the fireworks and balloons and all these things, and I'm like, whatever Zoom. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, that's really cool. Okay. Give me a yes if this all makes sense. Give me a yes. I need to have a yes from everybody in here. I need to know if this makes sense. I need to know that this is helpful. I need to know that you're starting to see that this is easy. Maybe not easy, but simple. At least simple. All right, let's keep going. So I just broke it down in terms of the 5 steps. Let's just recap. There's prepare, target, strategize, submit, and track. Track is one of my favorite. Proposals are my favorite. They're actually people who make fun of me because they're like, how do you love proposal? I'm like, because you're doing it wrong. Like, it's so much fun. So much fun. But then when you track it, now you can see, oh, should I give you this? I don't know. Okay, I'll give it to you. Okay, I'll give it to you. So when you track it, now you can see who won and who lost. But you know what else? You can see who's interested to potentially partner. Ooh, Melinda. So let's go back to that opportunity matrix. And you're like, you know, we've been going after the 1 millions and the 5 millions. I wonder if they would be interested in doing this 20 million one. You know exactly who it is. You see their resume because that's their proposal. And now you know whether or not you connect like a puzzle piece. Like, are they going to compliment me? Are they going to be the good fit for my business? Yeah. I've given you so much. Okay. All of it's in the strategies. So, and so much more, but just wanted to give you that. So you could see that all of this is intentional. These steps are intentional. You're not going to get anywhere else like this. This strategy is built off the back of billion-dollar brands and testing it out and improving it and refining it over a decade, working with entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, businesses that are at 5K, a million, 10 million, 50 million. So I already know that this is going to work because it's worked when people work it right. So this system will provide value for you. It's proven to work. Okay. So it's decision time. And I want to tell you, I want to talk to you about someone really, really important. His name is Michael. And I want to share with you this story about Michael. So Michael had always been the kind of entrepreneur who tried and thrived. He figured it out. He did the thing. He figured it out all on his own. He built his company from the ground up. He started with a small team, and then he grew from there. And his approach was really direct. focused, relentless, hands-on. And for years, that strategy really worked well. It made him stand out. His clients loved it. His team loved it. And his business grew steadily. Clients kept coming back, and he became a well-known influencer in his industry. But as his company started to expand and Michael faced new challenges, things that were completely out of his control, he began to realize that the traditional methods of acquiring more business, like networking and referrals and word of mouth, weren't going to get him to scale his business. Even though he was doing paid ads, he was DMing people, he was connecting with people on a regular basis, he questioned whether there was a better way to retain the majority of his profit. So he needed something more, and that's when he learned about government contracting. And for months, if not years, he was thinking about government contracting. Until one day he finally decided, I'm just going to submit a proposal. And at first it seemed really intimidating, but he thought to himself, I mean, what's the worst that could happen? I can just fail. I can just lose. But at least I know. He was a risk taker, so that's something that you need to know about him. He took risks and he loved taking risks. So he just decided to dive right into it. He was like, I'm just going to do it. And he believed that his experience working hard was going to be enough to make it happen, because it had in the past. He had a proven record of success. He submitted his first proposal and it failed. He's like, oh, well, I mean, the industry rate is 12%. So he's like, I'm going to submit again and again and again. And every time he submitted, he got rejected. He was so frustrated. He's like, this is the same system and the same strategies that I've been using to build this business. Why isn't it working? I built it this way the whole time. Why isn't this working? He tried every single method and it just didn't work. The standard sales techniques didn't work. The marketing strategies didn't work. Nothing worked. And he was frustrated. And it was at this point, a friend of his reminded him that what got you here is not going to get you there. He realized that to win a government contract, he needs to completely shift his approach and use a system that was designed to win contracts repeatedly. So instead of relying on this past success and instincts, he needed to learn the intricacies of government procurement. He needed a new strategy, one that involved understanding the specific requirements, building relationships with decision makers, and creating highly tailored and winning proposals. So he hired an advisor and he invested in the training. He got compliance help. He got documentation help. He got pricing strategy help. He got positioning help. All of it that he needed to win government contracts. And when he started to shift his focus from simply winning projects to understanding the needs and pain points of government agencies, it was no longer about just making a sale. It was about creating long-term partnerships with agencies so he can get on their speed dial. Type the word speed dial in the chat. That's the goal. You get on a speed dial, you're gonna make so much money. He used this fresh, refined perspective to submit the next proposal. And he had this confidence that it shifted from, we'll just see how it works. Oh, it'll work because we have experience, to this is going to win. Because he had worked the system in the way that his advisor taught him. And he had prepared it, he had reviewed it, he had refined it to focus on the client. And guess what? That turned into a multi-million-dollar contract. And that grew his business exponentially. That was the first of many contracts he won from that one-time advisor that changed his business, adding multiple millions of dollars per year to his bottom line. His profit increased, his team leaned up, and his time freed up. And so the lesson here that I wanted to share, the reason why I want to share this story about Michael is like, what got him here is not going to get him there. His past success, his traditional sales strategies, marketing principles, all that he knew about business, because he is good at what he does. It just doesn't work here. And he needed one person to help him get a clear plan that worked, so he could take what is existing in his business and just add a revenue stream. Like, you're just adding a revenue stream. You're not complicating your business. You're not adding more work to like figure out what they need. They're already telling you. You have to have this strategy for you to win. So I ask you, if you were having this discussion 3 years from today, and you're looking back over the last 3 years, what has to happen in your life, both personally and professionally, for you to feel happy with your progress? Or are you going to be looking at the last 3 years and say, maybe one day, when everything is right, the timing is right, when we have more time, when there's just more, when I have everything perfect and aligned, when I am comfortable, when I'm ready, like, we already know that doesn't exist. We already know those are excuses that our brain tells us. We already know that. You see, what Michael did is he took action. And he made 3 years, what looked like 3 years to everybody else, he made it look like 10 years. Everybody else, all of his competitors, his partners, his associates, they're like, how did you grow so quick? How did you get in flow? And he's like, government contracts. I bit the bullet. I got over my fear. I stepped forward and I just did it. I finally did it. I just got tired of just thinking about it and not moving forward. And then there's another distraction, another thing. I just had to do it. I just had to start somewhere. So when you take the GovCon sales strategy, and it's something that you can walk step by step through to learn how to win contracts over and over and over again for the life of your business. Sounds like amazing, doesn't it? One time. So this masterclass is the introduction to the GovCon sales strategy. This strategy has generated $4.4 billion in new contracts for our clients. Clients that never had a backlog and wished for one. You guys know what a backlog is? Have you ever thought to have a backlog in your business of clients that are just like, it is earmarked for you to make money? You win a contract, it's December, and it starts in February. It starts in 2 years from now, and you just go out and get another contract, get another contract, get another contract, get another contract. This is how money is made in business. Higher level. You want to know who's doing this? Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, of course, Amazon does a lot of government contracts. You just ask ChatGPT, how many, like, who are the influencers? A lot of actors and actresses have different businesses. We just saw a whole bunch of contracts recently through the election. So we know those influencers, those celebrities are doing contracts. So if you're stepping into this strategy, what are you stepping out of? Worry, fear, overwhelm, stress, anxiety, sleepless nights, arguing with your spouse, your kids, having to say no because of money, making decisions because of money, missing out on opportunities because of money, feeling stuck, feeling like a consumer, not a business owner. Oh man, this is happening to us opposed to for us. Man, you could change your business. You could transform it into what you actually want it to be. Instead of worrying about what the storm is going to bring in, you can just be the lighthouse for everyone to find safety. Everyone. You find out that this is the time for, this is the biggest wealth transfer in US history. In US history. This is an opportunity for you to just pluck your competitors and build your business. I mean, this is the opportunity. There are businesses on sale every day that could be winning government contracts. Whoa. It just changes the perspective. Like, instead of thinking like, I need to just be a small business owner, you are a pro. Now you have this information. What are you going to do with it? Because you got to do something with it. We find that people that act immediately on good ideas tend to be more successful. So I'm just going to encourage you to lock in this success habit, because I'm going to reward you for immediate action in the following ways. I'm going to reward you for immediate action in the following ways. I want to share with you the opportunity that I have for you. I'm going to bring it up, and I'm also going to put it in the chat. Is that okay? Are we good with that? We're good with that. Okay. Okay. So when you click on the link, I'm going to share my screen. When you click on the link, there's a link here. It says click here to see everything. You'll also get this this page and email if you are watching the replay. And you'll click on that link, and it's going to take you to the GovCon Success Accelerator. What I've found over the years of delivering so many proposals, teaching teams in enterprise businesses, small businesses, all the things, and launching different programs for small businesses like you, is that each of you needs something different. And to try to put you into a book or like a package and say that you guys have to buy this and this is the only way that you can actually get results, it just doesn't, it's not realistic in this world. Which is a benefit for you, because now you're not paying for things you don't need. So you just get what you need and you just get going to win contracts. So it's called the GovCon Success Accelerator. And when you schedule a strategy session, we will talk about what you need. We will talk about where you are in business right now, and customize this to fit what you need. I'm going to open the chat just to make sure Okay. So the goal is to give you the entire GovCon sales strategy. There's a lot in this. Like, there's a lot. I want to just kind of, I need you to know this. There's a lot in here. So I'm not going to, like, if you say, I only need a little piece, cool. I'll give you a piece. Whatever you need, what do you need? But if you say, do you need the whole thing? Sure, I'll give you the whole thing. If you're like, I need 2 things. Okay, great. In the GovCon sales strategy, I am still going to teach you the entire thing, but you won't have access for the entire system. Does that make sense? So I'll teach you, step 1 is this, step 2 is this, step 3 is this. This is what you're going to do. If you tell me I don't need prepare, I don't need target, I just need strategize and submit. Cool. And that's what you're going to get. That's what you're going to pay for. Okay. That's the investment. I want to make this easy for you. Okay. Yes, that's right. Okay. So by the end here, you're going to have the GovCon preparation checklist. This is what you need to like get organized, to know where to start, to know like how to be compliant, to know how to register, to get registered, step by step, target, the opportunity matrix I showed you, to get that, to understand how to fill it out, to complete it, to keep it maintained, updated, to build strategies based off it. Strategize. You're going to get a must-win plan document and sample language scripts. So why do we need those? We need those so that we know when we go do our research and we find out all the things about the government, which is, there's so many plays in this book, besides the website one that I told you about. Now you're taking all this information, you're like, okay, so what do I do with it? How do I write a proposal? How do I position my business that's different from the competition? That's why you need this. And then the GovCon stacking guide. So now you have an opportunity to make tricks. You're like, ooh, you know, I'd love to do this, but now I need to find a partner. Now I need to find a subcontractor. Now I need to find a prime, whatever your position is. And now you can go. Now, a question is, can you do all 3? Yes. You can be a prime, you can be a sub, and you can be a JV on different contracts at the same time. Submit. All about writing and how to submit your proposal. There are different ways. There are electronic submittals. There are still print submittals. There are how to package it, what to put on your label, how to put together your proposal, how to print it, how to organize it, what fonts to use, how to put to like create the graphics and the things like that. They are asking for information. I mean, we go through it all right? So it's not about like, you know, copying and pasting some prompts and putting in AI. We do that too, but I want to make sure that you're putting in a quality proposal that stands out. Submit, and then we're going to move on to track. This is a proposal tracker. This is so powerful because as I showed you in the opportunity matrix, there are opportunities that are not issued yet for months, if not years. And you're going to have at least 50 in there. So now you're like, okay, well, these are the 5 that I'm going to go after this year and the next year and the next year. And you keep adding and updating it. Now you know what your plan is, but when you go back to see what the incumbent is, like who is the one that owns the contract right now, or your competitor who won before or this time, you're going to see how they scored. You're going to be able to see who submitted. You're going to know how to request information from the client, all of that stuff. And that's going to help you make smarter decisions. And it's just like tying your shoe. You figure it out and you're done. You never have to learn it again, right? You're just learning it this one time. And then now it's just routine. You don't even think about it when you're tying your shoe. You're chewing gum, you're talking to somebody when you're tying your shoe. It's like, cool, it's done. It's done. So by the end, this is the goal of the 2-day workshop, is to be fully registered and compliant. Fully registered and compliant. So yes, there is going to be some work involved because this is a workshop, but I want you to take action. We're going to work through every single step. Now, I might sound nice and sweet, but when it comes to doing and getting results, my team and my clients can tell you, I don't play. Like, I don't play. So we're going to get it done. We're going to get it done now so you can start winning. So at the end of the day, that's all I care about for you. You're going to get a master proposal writing training. So I'm going to teach you how to write the proposal with AI, And this is going to save you a ton of time. You're going to be able to do proposals in like days using the framework. I gave you the steps earlier, and now I'm going to teach you what each step is in the workshop, how to do it. And how to build relationships with the government and how to build relationships with partners, other contractors, how to go after opportunities. What do you do when you see something in the media and you're like, man, I wonder if they need my services, where to go, how to do the search, who to call, what to say, all of that. And then understanding funding options. So a lot of times I'll hear, and this is just based off research, people think, oh, I have to wait until the end of the contract to get paid. There are situations where the government will delay payment, but it's on the terms. So this is one of the reasons why you had to apply to be part of this masterclass. This opportunity, yes, we can customize that out for you, but here's the thing. If I teach you government contracting, I have to teach you also to deliver those contracts. So you need to know how to fund them, but you fund them with alternating with your existing clients. So that way you're not like building a ton of debt, but you're offsetting the cost so that you can continue to build your business. And then you can set aside, and there's different strategies to do this, but I'm going to teach you how. All right. And then confidently navigating the landscape. Like, I don't want you to be afraid of it anymore, but I want you to see what is for you and what is not for you and be confident that you've made a decision. Because as soon as you stop thinking that you're focused on this one thing and then you see something else and it's just shiny object, you miss the mark, you slow down, you don't keep your momentum. And this is so important why you keep the momentum. So important. I don't want you to fail. I want you to succeed. Okay. So here are some key features that I know is what you need, excuse me, and maybe what you already want. Compliance, step-by-step compliance and regulation framework. So I help my clients win local, state, and federal contracts. We're going to talk about that. It's all based on FAR, but when it's local and state, it's a different regulation. So we need to talk about that. How do you get registered for your state opportunities, for your local opportunities, for this play? And if you want me to, I can add that in there, but this play does work for corporate contracts as well. So the difference is obviously the client. The strategy is very similar because the terms are same. They're all regulated by the government. So when it comes to compliance only, I'm talking about specifically compliance. So when it comes to compliance, we can talk about corporate contracting as well. All right. So the 2 days in this accelerator is a proposal writing workshop. So this is where I'm going to teach you how to do this. Go through the step-by-step. Step 1, prepare. Step 2, target. Step 3, strategize. Step 4, submit. We're going to narrow that down and focus on that for about a day and a half. And then we're going to talk about targeting so that we can bring this all together. Okay. It's kind of like a flywheel. Like once you start building momentum, then you're going to be going through the 5 steps so seamlessly and effortlessly. It's just going to be amazing. Beautiful stuff happens. All right. So Government Market Positioning Toolkit is all about the strategies to position your business. Like, what do you do now? Like, do you need to update your website? What do you put on your website? What do you say in social media? All these things. I will teach you how. I will teach you what. It's not much, but it is very strategic. It's very strategic, but I will teach you how and what. Okay. And this is not based off of, what you can find online. This is based off proof and feedback for government clients that so happen to be people that I have on my speed dial, that they call me and they say, hey, I can refer business to you. They send me clients all the time and they give me feedback. They're like, hey, this is what we're looking for. Do you know anybody? Or, hey, you know what? We can't stand looking at the proposals like this. We only love your proposals that come out of your agency, Melinda, right? We hear this all the time. Just, this is the system that works and they've already approved. Okay, so that's what the market positioning toolkit is. It's like, what do I do? Like, how do I position my business to do government contracting? It takes less than you think. And then preferred vendor. How do you become a preferred vendor? How do you get on the list? How do you get on the speed dial? That's the game right there. That is the goal at the end of the day, is speed dial. Just like in your business right now, you want to get your clients to advocacy in the customer journey. You're just looking to get to advocacy with your government clients, and that looks like speed dial. That's when there's a natural disaster and they're like, hey, we need a website real quick. That's a natural disaster. And you're like, hey, we need to clean up in this area. We need a snow blower. We need some flyers printed up. We need to get some water out there. Do you know anybody, or can you provide these services? Every single time that there's a natural disaster, they don't go through the same sequence of issuing advertisements because it's an urgency. There's an emergency. So they go to their list of contractors and they say, hey, can you do this? Like, hey, send out an email and ask people, can you do this right now? Is this something that you can do? That's quick money. And you're helping your community and you're impacting the world. Like, it's just, it's a win-win-win. Everybody is win. There are some networking events and also how to network outside of events with clients as well. That is something that we've already created, these pre-built templates that we share with our clients who win multiple millions of dollars, to make this whole thing easy and simple. And it's just like a plug and play resource. And then roadmap for funding projects. So like, how do you, once you win, like, how do you fund the projects? This is very rare. I only concern, or I see my clients only concerned about this when they are product based. So if you have a product that is not evergreen, or it's not, unlimited, the physical product, then yes, you do need funding because you need to deliver on the product before you can get paid. But in service, there are ways that you can actually adjust the terms, and I can share with you attorneys that can help review those contracts with you. Super simple process for them to just review it and make sure that it's in your best favor. And actually, more often than not, recently, the terms have been a little bit more loose. So you can actually give them feedback and say, hey, is there a way, this says 60 days, but is there a way I can get paid every 30 days? Or is there a way I can get paid on the milestones that we deliver? There are ways to speak that language. And when now you have more confidence in doing business with them. And then time management, like, what does this look like for my business? How do I not lose all of my hair? How do I not pull it all out or pull some team members out? Like, that's what this part is for. And then you got bonuses. So I'm really just setting you up for success. I mean, can you guys see that there's really nothing we left out? Oh yeah, you know what we did leave out, which is in this opportunity, is a proposal template. We actually provide you a master proposal template that you can just customize with your information and you're done. Like, you could just copy it and you're done. This is depending on what system you're on. So we actually have it built in Adobe InDesign. A lot of people don't have Adobe InDesign, so we actually built it in Canva. So it's something that's very easy that you can replicate and copy and then tailor for the specific opportunities in minutes. Super, super easy. And of course, it's yours forever. And then government contracting starter pack, all the templates, all of the checklists, all the insider tips, of course, you have my ear. And then what I'm going to step to number 3 of the bonuses is a one-on-one consulting call. This is a 90-minute strategy session. So you're going to book a call today for a strategy session. This is just like a piece of what you're really going to cover in 90 minutes on a one-on-one. This is about how we can really just go through the first 2 steps of prepare and target, and then positioning, like what is a good strategy. And you might already have a proposal and you're like, I want to submit on this. What should I do? You want me to take a look at it? That's fine. Bring that to the call and we'll use that time. So you get to customize this experience to work where you're at so that it works for you, opposed to the other way around. And then on demand. So once the 2 days are over, the recording is stored in the portal. You have access to that portal, and there's already training stored in there as well. So you get all of these tools, all of the recordings, and some other trainings that are going to help you in your journey in this accelerator. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We give you everything. We give you it all. I'm going to open it up for questions because we are ahead of time. And I want to make sure that I can answer your questions about anything that I covered today or the offer. Let me know.
Oh, I just want to say that was great, Melinda. Thank you for the information. I apologize for being late because I had another meeting and couldn't be on camera. But yeah, I learned a lot. So I can go to the link and sign up for the offer that, and also is there other stuff that's available from your company, like a newsletter or anything like that? I must be on your list, or maybe it's LinkedIn, I don't know. But definitely want to get as much as you have available as well.
Awesome. Well, I'm happy that you're here and I'm glad that you're here live. That's for sure. If there is anything we could talk through specifically what you're looking for during the strategy session, and we make sure that you have all the information that you need so you could be successful. Because at the end of the day, this is like more information is not going to move you forward.
Right.
More action will. So what is the thing that we need to make sure you have so that your pack is filled and you're ready for the journey? Like, let's go.
I'm new to the journey. My area it's real estate right now, but it's could be other things. So it's really
okay. Is it commercial or residential?
Commercial.
Commercial. Okay.
Yeah.
What asset class?
Asset class would be commercial space for retail space, rental, office space. But I'm not limited, to it's whatever. The key thing is understanding what it is that the government wants. And I heard you mention earlier, you're talking about real estate. That kind of piqued me a bit, but I didn't want to be, limit myself to that because, I'm also in the insurance space, the risk management space, and all that kind of stuff, financial management space.
Okay.
So there may be open door for that in federal government contracting. So I'm in what you call the exploratory phase.
Yeah, I can definitely help you with that so that we can narrow it down and align it to your goals. So there are a couple of overlaps like in finance and in commercial real estate that, we have definitely seen businesses that are packaged that way. And yeah, it sounds like they're all professional services. So I don't really see that there's a challenge with that. Like in terms of diversifying your business, but you want to make sure that you are clear with what is the most value you can deliver so that we can increase that win rate. And then we can go back and get all the other things, right? Like then we can get all the other contracts. So does that make sense?
Sounds good. That sounds good. Okay. Yeah.
So
Well, thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Any other questions? Where are you located actually?
Florida,
Where in Florida?
Miami.
Oh, okay. So I'm in Orlando. If you're in Miami,
Yeah.
yeah, I know. So if you're in Miami,
Mhm.
yeah, you got a lot. So I mean, it's blowing up with office and retail right now. So
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah,
then I read
my partner is in Orlando. She's in Orlando, my business partner, and she's a realtor
oh,
in Orlando. So that's really cool.
yeah, that is
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we'll definitely have to talk and
Correct.
connect.
Yes. Yeah. I've been
Even if it's
talking
shop. Yeah, for
about the
sure, for sure.
federal, I mean, the contracting space, and she wants to learn it because we're in commercial, we're in, multifamily,
Yeah.
but
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
never
Stick
done
built.
that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, you've never done it before and you're stick built. So, when it comes to government contracting, it is definitely a play a lot of people don't talk about. Yeah, you can go the grant route, like you can get grant funding and stuff like that, but like there's a housing shortage, right?
Yeah.
So, hello, just
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
opportunities galore, and there are programs that the government is running to solve that problem. So we just need to position that play for multifamily, because that's another thing.
Mhm.
um yeah, there's so much opportunity, but
Oh, wow.
that's the shiny object that I'm talking about, is like
Yeah.
that's where people get stuck. That's how people wait years before they take action,
Right.
is because they're thinking like, oh, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this. Oh, now I don't know what to do first. That's
Yeah.
why we do prepare first. Prepare is, what do we have to offer? And that is the most valuable, so that it's the fastest way to cash. And then we can circle back and get the rest. Like now we have an introduction. Now we can have conversations with officials. Now we know who the stakeholders are. And it's easier to do that play than, well, let's do this one, this one, this one, because the language is different, the messaging is different, the proposal is going to be different, everything is going to be different every
Mhm.
time you go after one. So we want to make sure that we're making this as easy as possible to get started.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then you know how everything goes, right? Once you're in,
Yeah.
right? I'm sure you don't, like, I'm sure when you're in the kitchen, you don't think about how to make eggs anymore. You already
Mhm.
just make them, right? So that's really what it is. It's just, let's just take simple steps. And then now we know what it looks like, and we can come back and go get the rest. And you could
Yeah.
do this for the rest of your life. And it's just amazing. So that's what I love about it.
I like hearing that. Yeah, definitely love that. Yeah. Well,
Awesome.
we'll definitely have to talk off the
Yeah.
situation so we can, and I can have my business partner with me, and we can, talk to you and see how you can help get us there.
Yeah, yeah, I would love to. I would, especially
Yeah.
CRE is oh man, it's so much fun. Oh, there's so many things I could say about it, and I will
Mm.
spare everybody else watching the replay. So yeah, there we can just totally nerd out about CRE, but um I don't want to undermine the other markets that you talked about in
Yeah.
terms of professional services, because that is always in demand.
Mhm.
A lot of people don't know that, but it is.
I didn't know
Accounting,
that. That's
finance,
really cool.
insurance, those are all things that are in demand.
Yeah.
And so I would suggest, for the sake of this conversation, and just kind of like with piquing your interest because you're in Florida,
Mhm.
is to register to get notifications on those opportunities, Florida procurement system.
Oh, that sounds
There is
good.
I get emails notifications for every state. It goes to my agency's library, so we see a lot of them. So you can start to see what they're asking for, which
And
is
where do
super
I get
interesting.
that notification? How do I?
Go to Florida, Google, it's a Florida procurement
Okay.
system. And I think it's FPDS, Florida Procurement
Mm.
Departments, like
Okay.
something like that. You can find it. But if you
Mhm.
say Florida Procurement System in Google, it'll pull up.
Great.
And
Oh,
it's the Florida Procurement Marketplace, and that's where you'll register your business. And it'll send you notifications based off commodity codes. So commodity codes are just what you do. Like, what do you do? What are your services? All those things, and you get notifications for any opportunities in the entire state of Florida. Now, I can share this to everybody watching the replay, is you do not need to be in the state to do business in that state. So a lot of people don't know that. I worked for an engineering firm, and one of their goals was to get registered in every state of the United States. There was 2 offices, Georgia and Alabama, 51 states, my friends. So is it possible? Yes, 100%. Is it every contract? No. They will tell you in the RFP whether or not you need to be local, which is fine because you just partner with someone who is. So there's tons of strategies in the GovCon sales strategy. I can't wait to share this all with y'all because you're going to be like, this is amazing, you know? So yeah.
Yeah, that definitely helps what you were just saying about the possibilities in the CRE, you know, in the commercial real estate space. Yeah. Sounds good.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. I want to thank everybody that Frank and Justice and just everyone watching the replay. Just I really appreciate and value you all. And so I'm going to make sure to include the link to go over the offer, watch the replay. It's all going to be in the same place. When you open the offer doc that I just showed you, you're going to click the link in the document to schedule a strategy session.
Okay.
The deadline is Sunday. So you have to book a call before Sunday. I will not open any more spots before Sunday or after Sunday. It is what it is. You want to get in. Let's see what it is. There's no cost for the call. It's a complimentary call. Let's make sure it's a good fit. Because I don't want to sell you anything that you don't want to buy or don't need. So let's start there. Let's have a conversation. Let's see if it's a good fit. And then we can talk about which workshop is going to be the best fit for you. We have one in January and we have one already planned for February.
Okay.
So we're going to hit the ground running, friends. Let's do it.
Thank you so much, Melinda. This is great. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Appreciate
You're
your time
welcome.
and what you shared today. All right. Appreciate it very much. All right.
All right.